God of War is a game split between genres and gameplay styles. It tried to be too many different things and unfortunately, to me, it failed. After almost 4 years, I could finally put my hands on it and experience it by myself for the first time. And man, this is probably the hardest script I have ever written. I'm kinda conflicted about this game. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. But if I have to use only one word to describe this game, it will be frustrating. Or maybe underwhelming. And the core reasons are, aka TLDR. 1. Kratos is not Kratos. 2. Lack of context. 3. Boring exploration. 4. Disgraceful RPG elements. And 5. Violence. Now, let me elaborate. Kratos has never been a man of few words.
Kratos isn't the most verbal guy. It's not that he's not intelligent, because he was a general. He was very intelligent. And so with Kratos, it's like when a grunt can do, that's kind of his wheelhouse. Because he can convey a lot of emotion from kind of thing.
That was good.
He's no Solid Snake, but he spoke a lot when compared to this game's version of Kratos, and I hate it. Most of the time he just listened and let Atreus talk stupid things about and at other people instead of coming back at him on the spot.
I see.
Yeah! We're sick of hearing about little people's little problems!
All right. That hurt a little. Let's have a look at your gear then.
That's not Kratos. The change in voice actors bothers me more than I thought it would. This new guy sounds so monotone and kinda bored at times. This is not Kratos at all. I realized that when they reenacted a scene from God of War 3 using the new actor, this guy cannot pull an OG Kratos. Not even close. Whenever Kratos is enraged in this game, I don't feel his anger. His screams during gameplay are also very bland to me. I only prefer this new voice when Kratos is speaking normally, like having a normal conversation instead of trying to mimic the OG voice.
Break an oath with a god. Of all the minds in question, mine is not the one to worry about.
You are right. I do not believe you. Come, boy. Very well. I expect an improvement.
While I was playing, the number one question I had in my mind was, is this kid actually his son? Because the way Kratos acts around him, it doesn't feel natural or organic. It feels like they just met each other or something. It actually reminds me of how Joel behaved around Ellie on The Last of Us. This Kratos does not act like a real human being that has gone through hell multiple times, killed his family, lost everything, and is currently having a second chance. Kratos needs to decide if he is the changed man or not. Oh, but Kratos doesn't know how to act around a child anymore. Atreus is around 11 years old. Kratos had more than that to adjust to his new life. I just don't buy it, especially after the ending of God of War 3. About that, he always felt guilty about killing his family. So why does he feel guilty now? It feels like the devs needed Kratos to be sad, but they didn't really knew how to do that. On a positive note, I like how he is more subdued now, showing mercy and that there's no reason to violence if not in self-defense.
No. He is beaten. Not worth killing.
He should pay for what he said about Mother.
That is character growth, right there. I wish there was more of that in him. Like he could show to Atreus that a god can change and be better. Teach by being an example. Because not a single god actually changed their ways in the story. Not Freya, nor Baldur. Freya tries to reach out to her son Baldur, but she continues to be an overprotective mother.
No.
Back off, Kratos. This has nothing to do.
This path you walk. Vengeance. You will find no peace. I know.
While Baldur, even after breaking the spell, he still seeks revenge.
What?
No character growth, no change, nothing. Why and how did Kratos get to Midgard? What happened in Greece after God of War 3? What about the Blades of Olympus? He chose to bring along the Blades of Chaos and not the Blade of Olympus? When did he get the axe and the shield? How he met Faye? Actually, who is she? How does she look and sound like? Was she actually in love with Kratos or doing the giant's will? Who is Atreus of Sparta? How come we never heard of this so important person to Kratos?
But Atreus of Sparta was unlike the rest of us. His memory was a comfort in dark times.
Isn't it so convenient that Mimir forgets Baldur's weakness?
What is the source of this power?
Well, as I recall, it involved, a spell?
Mimir?
Parts of my brain must still be coming back to life.
Isn't it so convenient that Kratos used that green arrow to fix Atreus' quiver just so Baldur can conveniently punch that specific spot, removing his invulnerability just in time to finish the story? About this part, it makes no sense to me that Freya would be so upset about the spell being broken like that. I mean, can't she just cast it again? So many questions, so little answers, so little context to the story, it's crazy. This game picks up where a second game in a trilogy would, not the first. I mean, you can start the story at a point like this if we're going to make use of flashbacks or show us more of the context of what came before. Our main goal is to fulfill Faye's dying wish, but if I don't know her, I don't care about that personally. I only care because I care about Kratos, and I only care about Kratos because of what he's been through. He deserves my sympathy now. I am so seriously done with this game's exploration. It's extremely repetitive. The main hub area, the Lake of the Nine, is to me the worst hub area I have ever seen in a game in a long time. It got old pretty fast, mostly because I needed to come back to it and explore it again and again multiple times. But you don't have to, just do the main story. I can't just do that when a game is trying to be more RPG and open world than linear. After the first 2 hours or so, I felt I have already seen everything the game had to offer in terms of variety. Every place feels the same because I did basically the same things and fought the same enemy types. My favorite realm was Helheim, and even then, it was one of the most underwhelming of them. Everything in this world is based on repetition, and the best example of that are the puzzles, or lack of it I should say. There are only one type of puzzle in this game. Throw your axe at something. Sometimes at multiple things in a short period of time, but they are always the same. Throw your axe here, throw your axe there, and that's it. It wouldn't be a huge pain if the targets weren't so hidden and small. I can't stand this. It's just so boring and frustrating. Why? The worst thing that can happen when exploration is a big part of a game is being bored by it and feel frustrated by the rewards. So let's talk about them now. Why God of War needed RPG elements? Why? Seriously, who thought it was a good idea? Actually, why every game now needs that kind of stuff? I hated when they did that to Assassin's Creed. and I hate that it happened to God of War. Feels extremely out of place. Feels like the devs didn't even want to add this stuff too. I don't know what happened here. It's the worst part of the game for me. Period.
A pet peeve, but I'm noticing that a lot of sandbox action games these days, that aren't made by Rockstar, constantly want to kick you out of the action and throw you into this slow-ass menu with giant puffy glowing icons everywhere that upgrade your stuff. And the problems that I have with that stuff are pet peeves, but they're not the end of the world, they're not gonna make or break the quality of the whole game, but they can diminish it.
There's absolutely no time that solving those puzzles is fun. But maybe after all that pain, the rewards make up for that, right? Nope. Kratos' vanilla armor / look, it's perfect. Why would I want to change that based just on aesthetics? And to make matters worse, the leveling system is attached to gear and weapons you're using instead of XP. You still earn XP in this game, but you use it to buy upgrades, which is not the worst thing. It just feels unnecessary, and most of the upgrades are kinda pointless. I just don't understand the necessity of implementing RPG elements into a game that doesn't need it. Maybe they were considering microtransactions and dropped it. I don't know. While we are talking about progression, let's talk about the weapon variety. There is none. The axe is the primary weapon, but after I got the Blades of Chaos, I saw no point in using the axe anymore. The blades are just so much better, flashy and fun. Yes, fun. But sadly there are no finishing / killing animations for them. Speaking about killing, one thing is sure, they really wanted to downgrade the level of gore in this game, which I'm totally fine with. I don't like violence and gore just for show like how Mortal Kombat X and 11 did. But why there's no dismemberment in combat? Why when killing an enemy it feels like that the killing has been censored for some reason? There are a lot less human enemies in this God of War than in any other, so keeping a good amount of realism in combat wouldn't be that bad. To be clear, I'm not saying that Kratos should be an ultra-violent warrior again. I think that toning down his methods was a good thing. It shows character growth through gameplay. I like that. Since this video is already too lengthy for my taste, I'm going to briefly talk about the gameplay. The camera was changed to off the shoulder, which is horrible by the way. It's just too close and claustrophobic. You can't get a good view of the battlefield during combat. God of War was never a very complex game gameplay-wise, so it's very noticeable when you remove something from it, and they did remove that platforming, which is a shame because by doing that they limited even more what you can do during gameplay, hurting the exploration. Not being able to jump by itself is not a huge deal in my opinion. I think it makes sense if there is no platforming. Free climbing was also removed, and it's also not that big of a deal, but removing combat during climbing they limited the gameplay even more. The combat on itself is not that amazing, but it's not that bad either. I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. It's actually pretty fun to fight things in this game.
But meanwhile, the island of Lemnos, near the place of my birth.
God of War is a game with an identity crisis. It wants to be so many things and fails to deliver anything with mastery. It wants to be God of War 4 with all the madness during combat, but also wants to be The Last of Us with the much more subdued and linear gameplay experience. But it also wants to be Dark Souls with a more intimate and close combat and with a wider map and exploration. God of War is a game that tried too much and failed. Thankfully, everything that it failed at was masterfully crafted. That's just my opinion and how I feel about this experience. I hope you can understand where I'm coming from, and thank you for watching.